So I saw that I was muted. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first ever live webinar in general, but then also live. And thanks everybody for joining us today. We can see that more and more people are getting live onto the stream. So we thought it's time to start now. And there's one thing we need to tell you before, obviously, because that is live, it is a recording. That means if you don't want to get recorded, we don't share anything personal related. So, but please be aware, this is a recording and we are going to share this later on also on our channels. So once more, let me say welcome to our live webinar. Also, I'm giving over to Teresa so she can introduce herself too.
Thanks. I'm very excited to see you all here connected. Greetings back to all of you, and I'm super happy to be here with you, presenting you our new Datacake LNS and showing you some tips and tricks on how to make the most of Datacake.
Great. So I would say then let's start with the official program. Before we start, I wanted to quickly also announce I'm going to talk about this in a few, but today we are going to present Datacake and the Datacake LNS with two partners, which is Rec Wireless for bringing in a gateway and Thermocon, a German LoRaWAN sensor manufacturer, for bringing in some sensors. Let me jump over to our next slide. We created a few slides. Don't worry, it's not like an endless webinar with just slides. But just to talk a little bit about the agenda today, I want to explain a few points. So first of all, we are going to show a few slides and introduce you to the Datacake LNS, tell you everything about it. If you have questions, meanwhile, please feel free to write us a comment. We are in the chat to help you and answer your questions. And then I will also start guiding through the necessary steps on Datacake. And in the end, before we are going to the next chapter, Teresa will take over and then talk you through pull you through the process of integrating LoRaWAN devices without using a gateway, because we have lots of gateways already connected to the platform.
That's right.
Great. Okay, then let's start by explaining a little bit of the theory, what the Datacake LNS is, what it makes different from all the other LNS or in general, and why we think this is a good solution to make things easier. So in a traditional installation where you need to connect LoRaWAN devices or gateways to the Datacake platform, it was always the case that you needed a third-party LoRaWAN Network Server, or you had a gateway that already had the LoRaWAN Network Server on the gateway, and you needed to set up a couple of things like webhooks. You needed to set up an integration, and then you need to connect the application with that integration to Datacake using a webhook. And then the problem is that if you add a single LoRaWAN device or if you wanted to add it to Datacake, the thing is that you needed to add it to the LoRaWAN application that you created on the LoRaWAN network server, but then also additionally on Datacake. And we have had a few features that was allowing people to import devices from their LNS connected to Datacake. But we saw on the support that people always had problems integrating their devices or setting up webhooks, and this led to lots and lots of customer requests. And we saw that, people basically stopped when they tried to integrate their devices. I'm telling you this also because it's important, I think, because if you are working with the Datacake platform already and probably have a white label package and you want to sell sensors to your customers, for sure, it needs to be easy because your customers at the end of the day don't want to take care about setting up LoRaWAN networks, applications, and webhooks. With the Datacake LNS, this is our approach to make everything a little bit more easy and less code. So like the low code, no code approach that Datacake usually is known for. And what we have done is that we now allow any LoRaWAN gateway and any LoRaWAN device to be added to Datacake directly. So there's no need for setting up webhooks, MQTT integrations, applications. and no need to add devices to both the LNS and Datacake. And I'm going to show this in a live presentation, how this is going to work. Before we start, I simply also want to talk a little bit about what our LNS is not, because that's important. Datacake still has an integration for, I think, almost 16 other LoRaWAN network servers, including a few that are on the gateway themselves. And the Datacake LNS is meant to have a quick start and an easy way to get your first sensors onboarded to Datacake. You can add multiple gateways, multiple sensors to the platform, but the Datacake LNS is not meant to replace a full-flexed LoRaWAN network server like the Things Network, LoRaWAN, KPN Activity, because they offer some things for management of larger fleets, which the Datacake LNS probably will not bring. And also in the future, we are focusing on the easy integration of devices. One second. And now, before we start, let me introduce you the devices which we are using today. As mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, the gateway we are using today and setting up is the WizGate Edge Lite 2 from LoRaWAN. From Rec Wireless. It's a LoRaWAN gateway. And the sensors we are currently using in this webinar are provided by Thermocon. They are manufacturers of LoRaWAN sensors used in building spaces. In this case, it's a CO2 temperature sensor that also has a knob which you can use as a thermostat, and it also has a button which you can use to trigger actions. And they have this, you don't see it on the picture, but it's a super small bar-like sensor that you can bring on windows or on office walls or whatever. In this case, it measures temperature, humidity, and I think also the luminance. Okay. Now it's time to start. And for this webinar, I've resetted everything I have here in my office. So that means we are now setting up the gateway completely from scratch. And I'm also going to show you how you can create a first account on Datacake and add the gateway. So let's start. As you can see here, this is the setup interface of the LoRaWAN gateway, the WizGate. And I resetted it because then I am able to show you how it works from scratch. And the first thing you need to do is set up your password on the gateway. Probably you're already familiar with setting up LoRaWAN gateways, but at the end of the day, for those that are new to the LoRaWAN topic, it is basically like a Wi-Fi router, and you need to set up so it works with your local network and with the WizGate gateway that's set up here in my office local network. And the first thing I need to do is provide a password. I'm going to do that now. And I agreed to the terms of service. This is always, it depends on what kind of gateway you use, but usually you set up a LoRaWAN gateway like this. You bring it in your local network because it needs internet access, and then you configure it using a web interface. And let's start with configuring this gateway. So this is now a brand new gateway. The first thing that we need to do, we need to specify the country. Why is this important? Because LoRaWAN has different kinds of frequencies around the world. And because right now I'm in Germany, I'm going to select the Germany frequency or the European frequency. I also need to confirm this because it's theoretically illegal if you would use a different kind of region, and this is why they only support one region. Confirm this. And now we've set up the gateway already. So this is very easy. And before we start connecting it to Datacake, I'm now going to show you how you can start with Datacake. So if you are new to Datacake and don't have an account yet, the best way to start is go to our basic webpage, datacake.co. And then on the top right, you see a button called Dashboard. If you click on that, this brings you directly to the link that brings you to our login page or setup page. But because we want to start completely new, in this webinar, I'm also going to create a new account. So you see how everything works from scratch. My name is Simon. My last name is Kemper. My email address, Simon. Let's do webinar at datacake.de. The name of the first workspace, you can leave that if you start over with Datacake, because that's basically the first project workspace tenant that you are creating. If you leave it blank, it will get the name of your name, and then we do need to provide a password. I'm sorry. And yes, accept terms and conditions, create account. And I was probably already doing a webinar. So let's make 2024, create account. And there we go. So this is how you can sign up on Datacake, super easy. And as you see, there's nothing that holds you back, no credit card required. You can, completely integrate or sign up directly using the sign up, and then you are basically in your first workspace. This is the workspace that we've just created. And if you take a look at the sidebar, probably if you are familiar with Datacake and haven't seen the sidebar for a while, you can see that there's a new element in here, which is called gateways. We are also going to show how you add your first devices in a few, but first of all, let's add the REC wireless gateway to the Datacake account that we just created. First thing you do is you click on gateways in the sidebar. And in here, you already see, okay, it looks familiar to adding devices, but instead it says add LoRaWAN gateway. And there's also a nice button. If you click on that, this brings you to a full documentation of how basically the things that I'm showing in this webinar. But let's start over and add the WizGate to my new created Datacake account. First thing I do, I click on add LoRaWAN gateway, and this brings up a new module. And in here, we do need to provide a couple of things. So the first thing we need to do is provide a name. Let's call this Simon's webinar gateway. A gateway EUI. I'm going to show you in a few where we get this from and the frequency. Currently, the Datacake LNS is available for Europe and United States. We have plans to bring up a few more frequencies for sure, but right now we are limited to Europe and United States. So in this case, I'm selecting Europe. And the last thing is the gateway EUI. And the gateway EUI is something that is unique to a gateway. It's like the serial number, the identifier of your gateway. And in order to know that this gateway you're just setting up belongs to your workspace, we need to copy the gateway EUI from the actual gateway. Some gateways print the gateway EUI on the backside of a sticker. Some state them directly in the web interface. And for the REC wireless gateway, the gateway EUI is in the overview page. Yeah, we can leave this page. So you click on the sidebar, and this is the dashboard icon, and then you click on overview. And in overview, there should be in a few the gateway EUI from the REC wireless gateway. It always takes a little bit to load. Hopefully my local internet connection or network connection didn't crash. So let's reload once more. These things always happen on webinars. Even if you do it like 2 times before and test everything, then usually on webinars something happens. Okay, let's wait a few. Okay, there's another way. In case if you're also stuck in the process here, there it is. Okay, it was also computing lots of stuff because it says CPU is at 100%. But I'm relieved now that it is working. And in here, you can see all the metadata of your gateway. And in here, we have the gateway EUI. It usually starts with a C1F if you have REC wireless gateways. And there's a nice button that says copy it. And then you copy this basically. You go back to Datacake and you paste in the gateway EUI. Everything is fine. And then to finish adding the gateway, we click on Create Gateway. And it says it's already used. Okay, I was deleting the gateway before. Let's see. Maybe Teresa could help me out and go to the back office very quickly and delete that gateway. That would be great.
Can you paste the
yeah, sure.
gateway EUI so I can check it faster? Thanks.
Okay, we do a short break in here. I'm very sorry.
No.
Seems like I tested it and then I added it and forgot to delete it. Of
No,
course,
no.
we test everything that we present on webinars. So
I'm going to delete it right now. It
thank you
seems
very much.
like you did very great tests
Yeah,
before. And yeah, it's now free.
thank you very much.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
This gateway has been added to Datacake right now. And then in the next step, you can see, okay, there is a success notification, gateway added. It also says the kind of protocol that you need to use, the gateway server address, the port, and the frequency. And in here, it's good to just basically leave this screen open right now. Because we need all of these kind of things to be set up on the gateway itself. And for this, we need to go back to the management configuration of the WSGate. So in here, basically, we just copied the gateway EUI, but now what we need to do is we created the gateway on Datacake, but we now need to link the gateway traffic to the Datacake server. And in order to do that, we need to configure the gateway and the LoRaWAN settings on the gateway. So we are going to click on sidebar in the Rec Wireless gateway and wait a few. Seems like it still is running high on CPU. And then you can see there's the configuration overview. And the first thing you see is the work mode. And for LoRaWAN, you have different kinds of options. And per default, this gateway is set to built-in network server. But in order to forward data to the Datacake LNS, we need to click the first option, which is the packet forwarder. And then basically we need to go through all of these kind of things here. This is fine. The frequency we already set. And then the next thing we need to do is protocol. So you click on this panel here, which opens up the protocol definition. And it's preset to the Semtech UDP Gateway Management Protocol, which is basically the same that we are naming here as the protocol on our Datacake notification. So this means we can leave it like this. Also, the statistic interval of 30 seconds can left per default. And then the next thing we need to do is the protocol parameters. And in this, we need to basically change the server address. And in order to get the server address, we go back to Datacake. We can see the gateway server address being set, being written here, and we simply can also copy it directly. So just click on copy. This will be automatically copied to your clipboard. Then back into the configuration and simply delete this and paste in the eu1.datacake-lns.com. And for sure, for US frequencies, it is North American one, so NAM one, but it's always shown here on this configuration page. Okay, everything else, like the server port, the push timeout, keep alive, can be left as default. There's no need to change that. If you have a gateway that is listening on a different kind of port, the port information is shown here on the Datacake notification in the modal. We can see it's 1700. This is per default on 1700, so we leave everything like it is. The only thing we need to do is save the changes. And now, because we changed the basic operation mode of the whole gateway, it takes some time until the Rec Wireless gateway reboots. It has been updated, so everything is now set. We can check again, packet forwarder. Yes, that is correct. Protocol is the UDP protocol, and the server address is the Datacake LNS. Okay, let's go back to Datacake. And we can now click on View Gateway in order to close this modal. And this brings us directly into the gateway configuration once more. One thing, there was a notification on the modal when you add it, and it's basically also seen here. If you add your gateway to Datacake, this can take a few minutes until the gateway is seen by Datacake. This is because we are pulling the gateway status from our backend, and this happens on a on an interval that has a few minutes. So basically, just check in a few minutes if your gateway is online and connected to the Datacake platform. We can go in here and then also basically reload and see. But we can also see the same here on the status of the WSGate. you can go back into dashboard, and here you can see, okay, LoRaWAN statistic, it was already receiving 4 packages because I have so many sensors here in my office. And in overview, you can also see, that it basically was already connected, Ethernet, and everything is set up. And also some more statistics on CPU and memory and so on. Okay, let's go back into Datacake and let's see. Let's wait a few. And probably we are going to start now with adding the first devices to Datacake. Okay, we already added the gateway to the Datacake platform, and this was actually an easy process. You basically point your gateway to the Datacake LNS, and you basically add any gateway that you want to add, and everything is up and running. And the next step is that you now can add your LoRaWAN devices directly to the Datacake platform. And if you are already familiar with Datacake and how it works, on the devices, on the sidebar, you can see the devices section. And in here, this is usually the interaction where you start by adding your first devices to the Datacake platform. Let's start by adding our first device. If you want to add your first device, you click on the blue button here, which says Add Device. This again brings up a modal, so everything looks very familiar, like how we added Gateway to the platform. And the first thing you need to do is click on LoRaWAN, click on Next, and then it brings up a list of supported manufacturers. As I've mentioned before, today we are working with Thermocon, and Thermocon was so kind to provide us. I'm going to show this here in the camera. I hope you can see it. It's a small stick-based LoRaWAN sensor, and Thermocon was so kind to provide us a few samples. Teresa is also a different kind of sensor from Thermocon. She's showing in a few, but let's add this sensor here. This sensor is called MCS, multi-sensor. It has different kinds of sensing options available. And you basically start with Datacake, adding a device, select LoRaWAN, and then you have the various kind of templates for the LoRaWAN devices available. We click on Next. And then there comes a difference to the previous view. And now with the Datacake LNS, it looks a little bit different because the Datacake LNS is now the first option that you see. And in order to add your device directly to Datacake, you select Datacake LNS. It works with uplinks and downlinks, and for sure, we also support every third-party LoRaWAN Network Server. The Datacake LNS, however, makes it super easy to add that device. Once selected, you click on Next, and this brings you to a modal which looks also familiar to how it was looking before, but there are a few differences here. And now this modal allows us to, first of all, add dev UI. For those of you watching that are not familiar with LoRaWAN or see it the first time, the dev UI is the serial number or the registration number of that sensor. And typically, a LoRaWAN sensor has 3 different registration or numbers: the dev UI, app UI, and the key. And we need to enter all of these 3 numbers in order to add the device successfully to the server. So we are going to start with the dev UI. And then next is the app UI. So simply go into this text field and enter your app UI. If you wonder why I can type so fast, no, I have copied them before and I have them on a text field. And last but not least is the app key. This makes sure, this is the key for the encryption. This makes sure that the data can be decrypted and is super secured once it is sent over the air. Frequency, again, we support, as mentioned before, Europe and United States. And because this is a European sensor, we click on Europe. And then last but not least is the device class. We support Class A and Class C right now. If you want to know what the differences are, Class A is usually, let me explain this very easy. Class A are usually battery-operated devices that send something out, and then they go back to sleep. Class C devices are devices that are online all of the time because they have an external power supply and they can be used for real-time automation and things like that. Because the Thermocon sensor is battery operated, this is for sure Class A. And we selected now or we set up all the requirements. And last but not least, that is actually now the last step. I was forgetting to give it a name, Siemens MCS sensor. And optionally, you could provide a location already, a tag, and you can add multiple devices to this product right now, but we are leaving it at just one device. Okay, so in order to finalize the adding of a new device, for sure, you click on Next. This brings you to the plan. And just a quick overview about the pricing plans that we have. So every user starting with Datacake has 5 devices free. They are limited in the amount of data storage and the maximum data points per day, but 5 devices are always free. We do support self-service, light, standard, and plus packet plans for single devices. But in case if you want to use consolidated billing or want a pricing package for more devices, then also having a volume discount, we have some package options available. You can check them out by clicking on that link. But because you always have 5 devices free, and I created a new account, so that means that I also have 5 devices free, we can add this device for free now. Click on Add Device, and this has been added now to the list of my workspace. And what I need to do, I can click on this. And because this was added through a template, this device already has a dashboard ready. The payload decoding is already set up. And that means that all we need to do now is to activate it. And for activating, we need to remove this red strip here in order to activate it. I'm going to do that. So hold on a couple of seconds, just really quick. And removing it, and basically pulling this strip, and then it starts blinking. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but I think you are able to see that. And what it does now is that it sends out something called a join request. This means it sends out a broadcast, some kinds of frequencies and messages, and all the gateways that are in range are able to see this message. And then the gateway is listing it and basically needs to answer to the sensor like, hey, I know that you are the sensor, you belong to me, and I can send you a join accept. And then the sensor knows, okay, this is the sensor from Datacake, which belongs to that account. And then we basically receive the data. It was already connected, I think. It takes some time until the sensor, a couple of seconds until the sensor sends something out. And we should see it in the view here on the dashboard. Yeah, because we have a live connection. And as you can see, 24.9 degrees, 38 humidity. So it's actually really warm here because I have got some lights on. Brightness. And there are different versions available which have like a motion sensor, a read status. This version is basically the version that comes with brightness, humidity, temperature, but you can get them from Thermocon with occupancy, so like motion sensing and stuff like that. So this means this is all you need to do in order to get your gateways on Datacake and in order to get your sensors on Datacake. And we're now ready to go. You could go ahead, make some adjustments to the dashboard, or create rules or notifications. And my part of the webinar is over for now. And this means that I would like to hand over to Teresa now, because Teresa has also a super interesting topic, which is she's showing you how you can connect sensors to Datacake without a gateway. And I'm absolutely curious to know how this works. Of course, I know, but yeah, feel free, Teresa, to take over, and see you later.
Thanks a lot, but maybe before you go, you can answer to this question that Adrian had, which is the monitoring capabilities. Do we have alarms for gateways, etc.? Maybe you can mention that before you go.
Of course. So what we are going to do is, as mentioned before, the Datacake LNS will never replace the full-flexed features of a third-party LNS. So I also see in that question, we are not going to bring notifications for gateway bandwidth. but we are going to bring a notification if the gateway goes offline. This is something because it works with our rule engine in the future, and then you can get some notifications. But other than that, like tools like bandwidth optimizations and things like that, they are basically belonging to a third-party LNS.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Great. Now I can start talking about using Datacake without gateways, which is another great thing about the new LNS. I've been answering to some questions that you had on the chat, and the whole idea of this new feature is to make it way easier for you to configure everything. So no webhooks anymore, no tokens anymore. You don't need to configure downlinks on your devices anymore. They are configured. And you can use your devices without having to have a gateway right away, with some conditions, of course. I'm going to start talking about the packet broker. So Datacake has access to a global network. So the beautiful packet broker with over 20,000 gateways around the world. And this network can be used by all devices connected to the Datacake LNS. So when you have on somewhere home a couple of LoRaWAN devices and you have been thinking about getting a gateway, but the gateway is always the most expensive thing, of course, and you also need to set it up. And now you can check out, and maybe there's already connectivity in your area. So what are the benefits of the packet broker? Yeah, you don't need a gateway anymore. So it makes it everything way easier to start deploying and testing devices to see if they fit to your application, etc. We all know that to develop LoRaWAN projects, you first need to develop a POC, a test, and you want to see if this is really fitting to your application and what you want to do, and to obtain the most benefits out of your project. And Datacake offers the first 5 devices for free, as Simon already mentioned. So this is a perfect opportunity to start testing Datacake right away, and to see if you need a gateway or you don't need a gateway. You can check out the coverage that we offer, which is, yeah, it's the same coverage that the Things network has. So the over 20,000 gateways that are connected to the Things network are also serving Datacake. So in here we can see that in Europe we have quite a good coverage, LoRaWAN coverage already. And in my area, I have a great coverage. So I am going to start showing you how to add your own devices to Datacake without the necessity of having a gateway on your workspace. So I'm going to move here. I also created an account for you to see. And I am also working with the beautiful devices that Thermocon provided as well, the Novos 3 and the MCS. Super beautiful devices. And oops, I'm gonna show them to you right now. And as you can see, I created a workspace, an empty workspace, no gateways and no devices yet here. And I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is to start deploying your LoRaWAN solution. So you click on Add Device and LoRaWAN device, of course. And someone in the chat asked if you can add any kind of device that is not listed inside of our templates. That's possible for sure. You can always add a new product from scratch, but since we are working with devices for which we have a template available, that's always easier, and you can always personalize them afterwards. You can always modify the dashboards and the decoders later on locally on your workspace. In this case, I'm gonna add the Thermocon devices. I'm gonna add them both at the same time, just so that you also can see wait, I cannot do that because they're different. I'm gonna add first this one, the MCS, through Datacake's LNS, and I'm gonna add the keys right now. And you can always name them however you want. And as mentioned, all of the keys are already selected. I'm also in Europe, and it's also a Class A device, as Simon said, and first 5 devices for free. So add a device, and now I'm gonna right away add the second one, which is the Novus 3X, and I also have the keys right here. Right there, and app key is right here. Again, Europe Class A and free plan. Yeah, that's right. So now again, to set up your devices, pull out the little paper that's on the battery, that's covering the battery. In this case, I of course did some tests before, so I took away the little band before, but they're lighting, so they are trying to connect both of them to the Datacake LNS. And as I mentioned before, I don't have any gateway right here, but some of my neighbors seem to have. I checked that before on the mapper, and yeah, the region I am in is quite good covered with some gateways on the packet broker. And I am going to check out if there's already something coming in. So let's see. We can see on the debug section that the registration to the network server was a success. So we see here the success flags, and we also see the first webhook received from the Datacake LNS and the first payload decoded from the payload decoder that I mentioned before. And it is the first one, so let's give this one as well a little bit of time, and let's see if this one, we can see the first temperature coming to our device. We see the exact same procedure, the first registration success, and the first frames, the first payloads being decoded. And we can see them on the dashboard already. So really, really good. And these devices are also super user-friendly and very easy to just attach to the wall or something like that. They are very neat and beautiful and small. So also very practical devices. And we can see that they are both online. I made a small reload there. And so this is as easy as that to start with Datacake, to set your first devices, to add them to the platform. And since we added them using the templates that we have available, then there's already a dashboard, and all of the configuration is done. You can see also under configuration, you can always change the name of your device, add tags and location descriptions later on. And you can also see what I was talking about, the payload decoder, which is developed from the manufacturer. And we have it here. You can always make modifications to it. We recommend that you use a template as it is, because it's usually based on the documentation of the manufacturer, and you can also see the fields being produced by the device. In this case, these are templates, so they can always be modified to your own use case and to fit to your taste. You can always go to the dashboard and move things around and change things around. This device I have right here doesn't have an occupancy sensor, for example. You can always delete things that are uninteresting from you from the dashboards and personalize them as you want. We have really beautiful little features to tweak your dashboards and make them look appealing. And we also have a really nice feature which is a public link, which allows you to share your dashboards with customers or with anyone that needs access to the data that's produced by your devices. You only have to save a public link, and this already creates a QR code and a link that you can password protect. If the device would have downlinks available, you could also make this a read and write dashboard, and you can always print this out and paste it on the sensor so that anyone with a smartphone or a tablet can use the public link. So that's another really cool feature. And all of the dashboards are also mobile friendly, so you can always modify. Exactly, I think you saw Simon's. We now have as well on both App Store and Play Store, I think it's called, the Android one. We have an app which is for monitoring of devices, so you can also add your dashboards to the mobile app by simply scanning the QR code. I think Simon did that, and he now has access to my dashboard. So to save the changes, we can just click on there, and that's it. Let's leave this device to collect some data. And as said, these specific devices don't have any downlinks. Someone was asking about the downlinks. They don't have any downlinks in here, but you can always add downlinks for devices that are supporting them. And we do have some documentation that we can also share later on. Simon, you wanted to say something. You're muted. Sorry.
Always happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very quickly. If you go on configuration, I saw the question as well, and I think this is a very good point because it really stands out or makes sure what or it shows what the Datacake LN is. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you reach to the LoRaWAN section, and in here you can see stop here. You can see all the details like the dev UI, app UI, but you also see that the downlinks are configured. And that means that if you add a device through the Datacake LNS, for example, a Class C device with downlinks in the preset, this works directly. No token. For sure, we provide tokens in the background, but the management is done over Datacake. That means you just add it and you can use it directly within rules or on the dashboard to have an on and off knob or whatever.
That's right. Exactly. So the both uplinks and downlinks are configured, and you don't need to create any webhooks anymore or any connection to any other service anymore, which is making everything way easier and faster. And this is this is how your devices look like. Now we have a bunch of other really cool features that you can also use in order to set up reports, set up rule. For example, let's add a rule, and that let's call it temperature rule. And let's say that we would like that the Novos 3 is sending us an email in case that the temperature goes too low, for example, so that we can turn on the heating. So let's say that with every new measurement, and we can select the field temperature on the current value is less than a constant number value. This can also the rule engine is quite powerful. So now you can also make a comparison against other different values, from a configuration field to comparison with the value from another sensor. But in this case, let's make it quite simple, and let's say that when the temperature is less than 20 degrees, and we add that condition. Of course, we also support multiple conditions with connected with ands and ors, ands or ors, but we don't have XORs. And then you can add an action and send an email. And I'm gonna send myself an email. Another really nice thing about the new rule engine is that you can always add as well values from your device. So the temperature is, if you start typing it, then you can select the device's field that triggered it and add new action. So we can save that rule. And now when the device is going less than 20 degrees, maybe we can fake it. You can always override values. So let's set a value of 18 degrees. And no, don't save it. So now let me see if I got the email on time. That's it. I got it, and now I have to see how I can show it to you. I think I'm gonna have to share another screen, which I was not counting on. Let me see.
You can also open up Google and then open the mail in a separate window, and then you click on
yeah, that's true, but
present.
I already did it like this.
I think that looks perfect.
That's fine. That's it. That was the email. We can see that it was a device thermocon Novos 3 that activated the rule 1 minute ago. And here it is, the 18 degrees Celsius on the email. So we see that that's how the rules work. On the rule engine, if you would theoretically have 1,000 of these Novo 3 devices, you could also set up the rule to work with all of those 1,000 devices at a time, and it will report to you in case that some of these devices are reaching the condition. We also have a report engine that also enables you to create automatic reports on CSV as a CSV file, and including some fields of your devices. But what I also wanted to show to you is that we can also create a temperature dashboard, for example. And that is called a global dashboard or a workspace dashboard. And those are always listed in here, and you can add information from multiple devices in one single view. So for example, we can add a table with all of our devices. This is always a bit manual, but you can always add the device's online status, the device's name, for example, and let's add a measurement. In this case, we would like to see, for example, the temperature of the devices, and maybe another measurement. Let's also show humidity. And you can always set up unit as well. So that's always nice to have. You can tweak your dashboards to look as nice as you want. And in this case, we don't need pagination, but if you would have, again, 100 devices, that's always very nice to have. And you can also sort by whatever field you want. And you can also set up, if the temperature is less than 20, then please set the text color to red. That's very nice to have. And also we have, again, the possibility to add individual fields. In this case, let's add both temperatures. Let's add a nice circular gauge that I love. Let's say cold to warm. And that's the device number 1. And you can select on data the device number 2, which also has a temperature field. The configuration is more or less the same. In here, you can always add Novus 3X and MCS. That's right. That's it. You can add different kinds of widgets. We have a lot of them. And yeah, so that's Datacake in a shell. Simon, do you want to say anything? You're muted again.
It's auto mute. I'm just excited with seeing how fast you are creating dashboards. But because we are like 7 minutes before our scheduled time, yeah, I would like to take over and answer a couple of questions because I see one question popping up all of the time, but you can also answer it because you can show it. There were people asking us over and over again how you can activate the QR code. Please, could you show this once more? That would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I hope I didn't. Now I am scared that I went through everything very fast.
No, it's fine.
So I can go back. And for this second sensor, for example, which I think didn't create a public link for, I first clicked on the devices list, of course, and I clicked on the desired device that I want to create the public link for. And then I went to edit mode, which is, yeah, you enable it by clicking on the editing button to the right side, and then you have next to add widget, you have a public link. And when you click on it and you click on create public link, the QR code gets created and the link.
Yeah, exactly. And because if you stop here for a moment, I can show how the app works. So as said before, the app is something that we use to, for managing your dashboards very quickly on a mobile device. And there is a plus icon and also a scan icon. So if you show me the QR code again, I'm now scanning this from your screen. And even if this is very, very small, it has worked the first time, but obviously not the second time because that's really small on the screen.
Oh,
Maybe you can zoom in.
I can also send you the link, but I can zoom in.
Yeah,
sure.
perfect. That was it. And I click on save now, and I have your Thermocon Novus 3X now added to the Datacake app. And if you would have downlinks in there, you would see it. And if Teresa would now make changes, I would see the changes immediately. Just so everybody knows it works like this.
Of course, I would need to make some changes on the mobile.
No, but it's fine.
Yeah, but that's
just wanted to show how this works. Yes, and somebody also asked if it is possible to share the webinar recording. Yes, for sure. We do it afterwards. I think it will be available directly after through the StreamYard platform, and we are also going to make sure we share it on YouTube and so on. And because it's a live recording, obviously it stays there. And somebody also asked how many gateways can be added within one single workspace. Yeah, exactly. Right now, it is the case that it is unlimited. That means you can add as many gateways as possible to a workspace. We are not sure if this stays forever, but basically, right now, everything is unlimited because gateways without devices don't make any sense. So we don't limit this. I'm just checking through the list of questions. Yeah, somebody also asked, device loaded into Datacake. I can show it here. That's a cool feature, actually. How do you schedule a downlink with Datacake? It's a Class A device. if your template already has the option to send downlinks, then the scheduling happens automatically. If your template or your device on Datacake don't has the downlinks yet, then you need to basically create a downlink and then, yeah, exactly, provide a downlink encoder which returns the bytes. The majority of our templates do have downlinks, especially when it's class C devices. But for example, some thermocon devices also have downlinks in order to set the transmission interval. Yeah.
And to schedule a downlink within Datacake, you can also use the rule engine.
Yeah, time-based schedule, for example. Yeah,
exactly. So in this case, I set the rule to send an email. However, if you paid attention, when you click on add action, you can see that we have more options in here, not only an email notification or an SMS notification, but you can also send single device downlinks and multi-device downlinks, which would also enable you to automate stuff based on conditions if you would like, or you can also set up a time-based schedule, which would also allow you to send a downlink on schedule. For example, in this case, instead of setting up a condition, we would like to send a downlink every morning at 7 a.m. You can set that up, set a specific time, select 7 a.m. and add as an action a single device downlink, for example. And then this thing allows you to set a downlink to the triggering device, so to the device that you selected at the beginning, or send a downlink to another device, which means actually that if you have a temperature device, for example, and you have a controller that enables a valve to turn on the heating, for example, if the temperature is too low, then set up and send a downlink to the second device that turns on the heating. That is possible with the rule engine, and then you can select here which device. Of course, in this case, none of these two devices that we used as example have downlinks defined, unfortunately. But in this case, you would select the device, and in this drop-down list, the list of downlinks would be showing, and you can select the downlink that you want to send, add new action, and then the automation is set up. So it's as simple as that. If the downlink is already configured on the device, then you can use them on the rule engine to automate and set up scheduled actions. Unmute yourself.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. It's a running gag now.
Yeah.
Simon always forgets to unmute himself. Yeah. Thank you very much, Teresa. I think we're almost over. One last thing I wanted to quickly show, because I forgot to show, is that this is how it looks when the gateway connects to Datacake, because I ran so fast into showing how to add a gateway. In the configuration, you can also add the latitude, longitude, so the position of the gateway, which is synchronized with the packet broker as well. And here you can see the stats that we are receiving, like uplinks, downlinks, round trip time, and when it was connected and the status. Yeah, I think we're over. And we can go back to show the last slide, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one is thank you very much for being here.
A typical German thing that in all slides you have like vielen Dank.
But yeah, but you have that in every country, I think.
Yeah,
We really are thankful that you were here, and that you signed up, and that yeah, I see a lot of very positive comments. We are very happy to hear from you, and as always, we are available on the support chat that you will see always on the platform, and via email, sales@Datacake and support@Datacake. And if you have any more questions, if you want to try things out, if you have any specific comments that you want to deliver, please always do. We are very happy to to assist you.
Yeah, absolutely. And from my side, also special thanks to Carolina. She was working in the background, preparing everything. And of course, to the development team for bringing the new Datacake LNS. Okay, we're going to close the webinar right now, so ending the stream. And I think it will be available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook directly. And for sure, I think you also get a reminder from the platform that we are using for broadcasting it. We are going to create a few more webinars this year because we think it's super exciting. So stay tuned for more to come. And again, as Teresa said, thanks for everybody for being here and see you soon.
See you.